Ralph Emerson once said, "We are always getting ready to live, but never living." Hi, my name is Caleb Wong, and today I want to talk to you about a difficult moment in my life that taught me how easy it is to search for happiness in the future, and how important it is to find happiness in the day-to-day lives we are already living. The summer before my sophomore year, I went to Europe with my soccer team to participate in 2 different tournaments, the latter of which, called the Gothia Cup, was known as the Youth World Cup, with hundreds of different teams competing from dozens of different countries. Our team had done fairly well in our first tournament, called the Dana Cup, held in Denmark, placing 4th out of dozens of teams from across Europe. I myself did pretty well in these tournaments, starting every match and leading my team to assists. So, I felt pretty good about myself, on top of the world, even invincible. But, as fate would have it, in one of our practices leading up to the big tournament, I went for a loose ball and I landed on my ankle the wrong way. I instantly knew something was wrong. At first, I tried to convince myself that it was just a light sprain, and with ice and time, I would be ready quickly for the big tournament. But an MRI had revealed that I had actually broken my ankle. Not only would soccer be out of the picture for the foreseeable future, but I wouldn't even be able to walk, having to need crutches for the next 6 to 8 weeks. To cope with my injury, I remember telling myself that once I could walk again, once I could run again, once I could play soccer again, everything would be okay. Because for me, soccer had been my whole world for as long as I could remember. The game I fell in love with when I was 5 years old, the thing that made me feel like myself, and in one moment, it was taken away from me. So like I said, to cope with my injury, I told myself that once I could walk again, once I could run again, once I could play soccer again, then everything would be perfect. So I held on to that hope, telling myself that my happiness was waiting for me just a few short weeks away, that when I could finally get there, everything would be okay. I obsessively monitored the progress of my injury, counting down the months, the days, the hours, the minutes, to when I'd finally be happy again. I also remember pushing myself, both emotionally and mentally, and trying to push away any pain I had, like forcing myself to go to PT every day, or going to the gym every day, to speed up the progress of my injury. And after hours of hard work, and pain and sacrifice, I finally stepped back on the field. And it felt so good for about a day. Then, almost immediately, that feeling of satisfaction and happiness I worked so hard to gain vanished into dissatisfaction. I watched as my focus became not just about getting back on the soccer field, but about getting back to where I was before my injury. Just playing soccer, the thing I'd fantasized about, was suddenly not enough. I then convinced myself that I couldn't really be happy until I was dominating the field like I had before my injury. And when that didn't happen overnight, I instantly started questioning everything about myself. My identity, my work ethic, my progress. But worst of all, I found myself dreading soccer games and practices, the thing that made me feel like myself. I remember one especially bad performance where I didn't play good at all, and in a car ride home with my dad, I completely let all the months of sadness and disappointment flood out. I remember crying and screaming, but most of all, I remember my anger. Anger at myself for not being better, at the world, at the unfairness of it all. But what I remember most from that night isn't the disappointment or the anger. That's what my dad said to me. He looked me in my eyes, and he reminded me of the other talks we had. The ones months ago, when I was sitting on a bed with crutches by my side and a broken ankle. He reminded me how I told him how badly I just wanted to kick a soccer ball again in my room, or how I fantasized about walking without crutches, or even driving 3 hours to play 5 minutes in the freezing cold. Running faster than everyone else or scoring the game-winning goal was the last thing on my mind. And suddenly, I realized how destructive my mindset had been this whole time. I had convinced myself that my happiness was waiting for me in the future where everything would be okay. But in doing so, I completely left out the joy and gratitude that I had around me during all those months. Like spending time with people I really, really cared about, or talking to people I loved, watching the sunset, or even eating something I really, really, really enjoyed. In the little things that made my life extraordinary. And the truth is, many of us do this. It might not be your ankle. It might be the approval of a peer, or academic success, or financial security. The next thing towards being better tomorrow than we are today. What I learned is that, and I get it, it's hard. Especially in a world that, and I get it, it's hard to find happiness today. Especially in a world that tells us that happiness is something we have to achieve, something we have to earn, and that we can't be completely satisfied with who we are until every aspect of our lives are perfect. But what I learned the hard way is that you will never be perfect. And that's okay. In fact, I would even argue that's what makes life worth living. The little imperfections in our lives that make the moments of accomplishment and joy so, so, so much sweeter. And the truth is, we think we'll always have this. We think everything we have today will be waiting for us in the future. But the truth is, that isn't so. Sometimes I imagine myself as an old man with gray hair and wrinkled hands, sitting on a park bench somewhere, watching the world go by. And I imagine what he would trade, what he would give, just to have one more day as me, with all my imperfections and flaws, to wake up without aching joints, to run across a soccer field, to talk to friends he hasn't seen in a long time, or to hug his parents while they're still around. And I don't want to wait until it's too late to know what I had. And I don't want that for you either. So I'm telling you, stop waiting. Stop waiting for the next achievement to give you the satisfaction to be happy. And stop believing that the lives you have right now aren't good enough. Because in doing so, you completely forego the little quiet moments of joy that you don't even notice. The ones you'll look back on one day and realize were everything. As I leave here today, I hope you carry this reminder with you. Don't let the illusion of the future stop you from appreciating the joy you have right in front of you. Moreover, don't let the hope and promise of a better, more successful future stop you from appreciating the growth and the joy you have today. There will always be something tomorrow, another insecurity to solve, another thing you don't have. But today is a gift. As for myself, I was so busy trying to fix all the little things wrong with my life, I didn't allow myself to appreciate all the gifts around me that made my life beautiful. And maybe those little moments are enough. And maybe they've always been enough. As Ferris Bueller once said, and I'm sure many of you know this quote, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Thank you so much.